Hi, a very good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the lunchtime talk today on stress management and well-being. All right. So my name is Celine. I'm from Boys Town. I think most of you would have known Boys Town as a residential home for boys, right? So we started out post World War II, all right, to provide shelter for displaced children impacted by the war. So over the years, we have actually expanded our services to become a social service agency that provides services beyond just residential care. So we do provide youth outreach, foster and respite care services, counseling and therapy services, as well as outdoor learning programs. To find out more about Boys Town, I'd like to invite all of you to watch this video.
Boys Town helps over 500 children and youths in a year. Founded in 1948 by Brother Vincent, a member of the Montfort Brothers of St. Gabriel, and philanthropist Mr. William McDermott, we first started as a residential home for war-torn children. Now, Boys Town has evolved to become a one-stop children and youth center with an expanded range of services that caters to both boys and girls, from infants to young adults.
I believe passions is the word they are used to describe Boys Town, because all the youth come in with different forms of passions. They all want to do well in life, one way or the other. Likewise for the youth workers and as well as social workers and all our staff. They come in not just for a job, they come in with passion in serving the community, the children and youth and families. Being a boy in the 1990s, I believe there'll be a fond memory of Boys Town, and I believe that Boys Town is not just a job that we come here to work on every day, but it's a mission to pursue both personally and also in line with God's purpose.
The residential services caters to youths between ages 10 to 21 who come from socially and economically disadvantaged backgrounds, have experienced traumas and abuse, or face educational or behavioral issues. The youths go through a structured program to instill discipline and mold their characters. Their daily schedule includes interest-based activities in sports, music, and photography. We also have the Boys Town Alternative Schooling for youths who are not in the mainstream education system to continue their studies and to prepare them to return to regular schools. Youth Reach is a street outreach program based in Tampines and Toa Payoh, targeting youth in need who have fallen through the cracks. The youth workers befriend the youths on the streets and engage them in meaningful activities and specialized interventions. The Boys Town Fostering Services provides family-based care for vulnerable children. We run the fostering agency appointed by the Ministry of Social and Family Development, and also Sanctuary Care, a community-based fostering service. The Clinical Intervention Center consists of a dedicated team of psychologists, counselors, and behavioral specialists. We provide a comprehensive range of therapies and clinical support for our residential and fostering clients, their families, and the general public. Boys Town Adventure Center delivers adventure-based programs and therapy to fuel active learning and character development. We also offer challenge courses, camps, and outdoor sports certification for both existing beneficiaries and the public. As we continue the good work of our founders, our mission remains to help children and youth in need become socially integrated, responsible, and contributing members of society.
All right. Once again, for those of you who just joined us, my name is Celine. I'm a therapist and manager of Clinical Intervention Center, which is the counseling and therapy arm of Boys Town. So we started off in the year 2010, providing only therapy services for our residents. So over the years, we have actually also extended our services to the community to receive referrals from schools, from parents who self-refer, as well as hospitals and other social service agency. So we take a three-pronged approach to supporting mental health and mental wellness in the community, and that is through outreach and education, training and consultation, as well as therapeutic support and intervention. So for today's talk on stress management and well-being, we're going to look at the 3 A's of managing our stress. So first of all, we are going to have an awareness of what stress is. How do we look out for the signs of stress, all right, as well as what can be some of the common causes of stress amongst us. Next, we will also learn how to analyze and determine where our stress is coming from. And lastly, I'm going to share with all of you what may be some healthy and positive strategies that you can use to cope better with your stress. All right, so I would like to just invite you to use your mobile phone and scan the QR code on the screen right here, and share with me what springs to your mind, okay, when you hear the word stress or see the word stress. Let me know if you have any problems with accessing the activity, all right? Okay, I see all the words coming in. Thank you so much for your participation. Yeah, so I'm seeing words like headache, failure, fear, tired, heavy. Yeah, I think all of you are absolutely right. Run away. All right. Yeah. Some of us run away. Some of us, when faced with stress or challenges, we tend to avoid the situation, and that's avoidance. And that is a very actually normal part of our body mechanism, especially when stress levels are too high and it's taking a toll on our body. And that's when we may actually exhibit avoidance to avoid the stress. And that is what is known as fight, flight, or freeze response to stress, which I will touch on a little bit more later. All right. Yeah. Sometimes we feel like failure when we cannot handle the challenges in our lives. We may feel tired and heavy. And these are actually signs that actually stress are escalating to a level that our body is not able to manage. All right. Thank you so much for your participation. Okay. All right, so what exactly is stress? So stress, as you can see from the screen right here, is actually our body's response to pressure from a situation or life event. So essentially, our body is actually built to experience stress, okay? When we are faced with a life event, a difficult life event, or challenges or changes in our environment, our body is built to respond, okay, to these changes and challenges, and our body will produce physical and mental responses to them. All right, if you continue, I'm going to launch the next activity. Do you all think that stress is a bad thing? All right. I'm going to launch the next activity, and we would like to invite all of you to take a poll. Do you all think stress is a bad thing? Okay, I think I've got 50-50 here. Some of y'all think stress is a bad thing. Some of y'all think stress is not a bad thing. Okay, so is stress a bad thing? Maybe let me just share the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of the story, right? It's a very well-known tale that we hear when we are young. Okay, so in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, okay, in this story, if you remember, Goldilocks was walking along in the woods, and then she discovered a cottage with a door wide open. She went into the cottage. There are a couple of things that she did, but I'm just going to focus on 2 things that she did. So she saw 3 bowls of porridge on the table. She tasted the first bowl. It was too hot for her. She went ahead and tasted the second bowl of porridge. It was too cold for her. She tasted a third bowl of the porridge. The temperature was just nice, and she went ahead and finished the whole bowl of porridge, right? And then after eating, she felt very tired. She went upstairs. The first bake she saw was too hard. The second bake was too soft, and then the third bake was just nice for her. And then she fell asleep, right? So what does this tell us? If I were to draw parallels with Goldilocks eating the porridge and sleeping on a bed to stress, okay? Stress levels have to be just nice. The temperature has to be just nice. It cannot be too hot. It cannot be too cold. It has to be just nice. So when it's too hot, it means that the level of stress is escalating to the extent that our body is not able to handle it. Okay, our body will go through wear and tear if we constantly have our stress levels skyrocket, right? But if we have too little stress, we become very unmotivated. We may not be able to achieve the goals that we want to do, right? But when stress levels are just nice, it actually enhances our performance. It motivates us, to do well in our work. And for the young, it motivates them to study and achieve, their goals, academic goals, right? So if I were to give another example, so for today's talk, I prepare myself because I had the right levels of stress. I prepped myself and I came for the talk, and now I'm talking to all of you, right? But can you imagine if I got too much stress? What is going to happen? I may have anxiety, right? I won't be able to talk. I may blank out, right? If I have too little stress as well, okay, it works the same as well. I may not be able to speak to all of you. I don't know what to say. So when my stress levels is just nice at the right level, I'll be able to perform in the work that I'm doing. I'm able to deliver the talk to you. So similarly to pilots who are flying in an airplane, he has to carry hundreds over of passengers. He needs to have that right amount of stress in order to perform his work. And that's similar to doctors and nurses working in the A&E, right? In a hospital, they need to have that stress so that they're able to do their work, all right? So whether stress is a good thing or bad thing, I would say that stress levels has to be just nice. It cannot be too much, neither can it be too little, all right? So what you're seeing now is a visual representation of stress zones. Okay, this gives you an idea whether the stress levels you are experiencing is positive stress, whether is it enhancing your performance, or whether is it harmful stress, toxic stress. So let me just explain. So when we are experiencing positive stress, that is when you are able to handle the things that is presented to you. For example, going to a new school. So PSLE students, P6 students going to school next year, they're able to adapt to the new secondary school environment. When they are experiencing positive stress, they're able to complete their homework, they're able to study for their exams, they're able to do their projects. I'll be able to, at work, I'm able to submit my proposal, I'm able to carry out, a presentation. Okay, but sometimes at some point in our lives, okay, we may experience challenges that is a little bit more than just, going to work or getting myself ready for a presentation. There may be some points that we may experience life events that can be a little bit challenging for us, such as somebody that you care about passes away, okay? You may be able to work through this, but for some people, they may need a little extra help here and there. Now, when stress becomes toxic or harmful, that is when stress levels remain elevated for long periods of time without any periods of relaxation. And that is when your body will go through a lot of wear and tear. You will experience a lot of physical signs and symptoms, which I'm going to share with you later on, from excessive stress. So this usually happens in situations where there is abuse, neglect, and, for example, going through a road traffic accident. So when you experience a life event or challenge that is extremely stressful, okay, you will feel like everything is out of control and you're not able to manage. So these stress zone, however, all of us are unique individuals, all right? We are made up differently. So all of us have our own ways of dealing with stress, how resilient we are. Some people may be able to manage stress very well. Some people may not. So it really depends on the makeup of the person. But what this stress zone does for all of us is it gives us a visual representation, an idea of where our stress levels may be, and then it helps us to be able to analyze the source of our stress, and then therefore we will be able to react or respond appropriately and take appropriate action on how to manage our stress. So the causes of stress, okay, is known as stressors. So there are two types of stressors, external stressors and internal stressors. So external stressors refers to major life events or demands placed by the physical environment or external forces that is not within our control. Okay, internal stressors refers to stress-inducing thoughts that comes within our own mindsets and expectation, such as putting pressure on ourselves to be perfect. Okay, fear of public speaking. So this comes from our own personal mindset. So what are some examples of external stressors? School and work demands and frustration, very common in Singapore amongst adults, parents who are trying to make a living, or even for children in school. Health and physical changes, okay, especially if you, for those who are experiencing health issues, okay, it can be a source of stress for them. Physical change, especially for teenagers who are going through puberty, they're experiencing a lot of changes in their physical body and how the way they relate to others. So puberty sometimes can be a source of stress for some. Relationship problems and family problems, okay, moving or changing schools, taking on too many activities and heavy commitment, very common among families with children, okay. Death of a loved one, parenting and caregiving, extremely stressful, I think, nowadays. Okay, I've been seeing a lot of news reported in the media. Recently, I saw a newspaper article written by a journalist. Okay, she was talking about how difficult and stressful parenting can be. Caregiving for elderly or somebody with a terminal illness or mental illness. Okay, so the caregiver sometimes can experience stress and burnout. And of course, lastly, I think the pandemic is something that all of us are very familiar with, right? The constant changes in the safe management measures. So is it 2% or 5% now, or is it 8%? Sometimes they're going through the changes and putting on masks. Okay, sometimes for the entire day can be very stressful, especially for children. You go to school, they're going to be putting on masks, and then right after school they go for their CCA perhaps. So the whole day they will be on their mask. So it can be very stressful for them. It also changes the way that children or youth, they interact with their friends or socialize with their friends. They may not be used to having to social distance. They may not be used to having to be able to meet their friends regularly. Okay, so internal stressors, like I mentioned, okay, refers to stress-inducing thoughts that comes within ourselves. For example, the need to always be perfect, the inability to accept uncertainty, okay, having unrealistic expectations, a lot of rigidity, lack of flexibility, okay, a lot of pessimism, and people who have negative thinking styles. Sometimes when they fail just a test, they may tell themselves, I'm useless, a loser, I'm a failure, without thinking that, hey, how about the other test, that I have passed, okay? And then when people are extra nice to them, they may respond with suspicion, like, why are they so nice to me, okay? Lifestyle choices, such as sleeping late at night, not having enough sleep, all these are examples of lifestyle choices that can be stress-inducing. So let's take a look at what may be some of the signs and symptoms of excessive stress. How does it affect our physical body? What's the responses? Okay, how will our physical body responds to excessive stress? How does it affect our behavior and our actions? Okay, how does it affect our mental processes, how we think, and how does it affect our moods? Okay, so one of the very common responses to excessive stress in our body is we will experience changes in our sleep pattern. Either we sleep too much, or we find that we keep waking up in the middle of the night, can't sleep that well. Okay, we experience a lot of fatigue, headache. Some of you have shared your thoughts on the word cloud, headache, tiredness, indigestions, heart palpitations, nausea, and dizziness. So for some people, okay, some of the clients that I've worked with, they will say that they get a lot of stomach aches, okay, and heart palpitations. So when they see a doctor, the doctor is not able to find out what is the underlying medical cause. All right. You may weight gain or weight loss, because some people, when they get stressed, as a way to cope, okay, either they eat too much or they don't eat at all. All right, so you may experience weight gain or loss when there's excessive stress. You may find that if you are extremely stressed for long periods of time, you will see a deterioration of your personal hygiene and appearances. You may be also fidgety, a lot of nail biting, restless pacing. You find yourself having the need to move around constantly. Um, Isolation of self from family and friends. This is a very common sign that I see in actually both the young and old, especially the older adults. They tend to isolate themselves, okay, and refrain and not refrain. They may not be very enthusiastic about social interaction with others. Okay, there is a loss of interest in hobbies and activities as well. A lot of the young clients that I work with, they will tell me, I no longer enjoy playing soccer, for example. I no longer enjoy drawing. So that is actually a telltale sign that okay, this person probably needs a lot of help. Okay, may get impatient, okay, easily agitated and irritated, angry easily, overwhelmed. So essentially, you'll find yourself when undergoing excessive stress, you may find that it's very difficult for you to keep your emotions under control. You may feel very overwhelmed, okay? And then cognitively speaking, okay, how it affects your mental processes is that you may find that you are not able to concentrate at work. There's an inability to focus, okay? So this explains why children in school, if they are experiencing high levels of stress, they may not be able to do very well in their studies. I've worked with this 15-year-old girl, okay? She's a high achiever, okay? But she has the tendency to want to be perfect in everything that she does. So instead of doing well, eventually, she actually failed her exams. Okay, she was in a very good school, okay, because she was not able to concentrate, okay, inability to focus. Okay, so that explains why in the end she couldn't, there was a deterioration in her academics. All right, memory lapses. You may find yourself difficulty in making decisions, and you tend to have a very negative perspective, right? So this is the internal stressor that I was talking about. It comes from your own personal mindset. So it can be a very vicious cycle that goes on and on. So you become very irrational and exercise poor judgment. Okay. All right, so how do you do? Okay, so maybe I just want to find out from the same website earlier. I'm going to launch another word cloud. I want to find out from all of you, how do you all normally deal with stress? Okay, sure. I will go back to the QR code so that you can scan them. Okay. Okay, some of you say talk, all right? Watching a drama. Yeah, I do that very often as well. Go for a run. Okay, I'll share more about going for a run later and how helpful it is, okay, to for your overall well-being. Playing games, right? I think GAMES, playing games. Okay, right. Okay, so sounds like all of you have really very positive and healthy ways of coping with stress. Okay. All right. So I'm sure some of you have heard of how some people cope with stress. Some of them turn to smoking. Very common among male youths that I work with. They will say I smoke because helps me to de-stress, right? And then some people will turn to alcohol. Okay. Or they may have a lot of emotional outbursts, okay, because they have a lot of pent up stress. So they end up actually lashing out, having outbursts, okay, at others, which is not very healthy. There's a picture of somebody looking at a huge burger, a Big Mac. So this is what I mean by a lot of people will turn to comfort food. They seek comfort in eating. So that's when they will have weight gain. Okay, or they will tend to sleep away. They try to sleep the stress away. Okay, but they end up sleeping too much. All right. This is very common among the youngsters, the teenagers especially. All right, they turn to devices. Okay, I have a lot of teenagers telling me, I'm very stressed. I need to, use my phone a lot. All right, so excessive use of devices. So I'm going to share with you what may be some of the healthy and positive coping strategies to deal with stress. Okay, so I just want to point out that all of us are different. All of us have our own way of coping. So don't be alarmed if your way of coping, like for example, watching a drama, does not happen to be here. So I'm just sharing a few common and healthy ones that y'all can consider. Okay, trying. Okay, so the basis of all these stress coping strategies. First of all, I think loving oneself and having that commitment and discipline to exercise self-care is really important, right? Especially for those of us who are workaholics, we need to set aside time, okay, to ensure that we take care of ourselves first and foremost, right? All right, so engaging in activities that we enjoy, so it can be any hobbies or interests that you may already have, okay? Talking to someone that you trust, engaging in physical exercises. Some of you have said that, or you go for a run, right? Talking to someone you trust, someone who said talk to somebody. Okay, prioritizing tasks accordingly. Practicing relaxation techniques. I'll share what may be some of the common relaxation techniques and effective ones that you may consider using. And last but not least, if you find that despite, I think, engaging yourselves in all these stress coping strategies, you still feel like you're not able to cope and you still feel like as if you're out of control, I think then it may be time to actually consider seeking help from mental health professionals. Okay, so exercise. Some of you have said that going for a run. Of course, it's recommended that we engage in 20 to 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercises 3 to 5 times a week. I think it is a challenge. People tell me it's so challenging. I'm so busy with family commitments, work commitments. So I think don't stress yourself out. Okay, I need to do it every day or 3 to 5 times a week. I think as long as you find time, even once a week, it doesn't have, even here it's written 20 to 30 minutes. You don't have to follow this. So nowadays there are like popular exercise activities such as HIIT exercises that only requires 10 minutes. Okay, so even going for a walk. Of course, ideally, cardiovascular, any exercises that get your heart pumping, but you feel that if it's challenging for you, it's very difficult to do so. I think even going for walks, okay, can help you, help your body to feel better in terms of managing stress. Because why cardiovascular activities? Because it releases endorphins. Endorphins is also known as the feel-good hormone that actually helps to improve your mood, all right? So there's been a lot of studies and trials that talks about how exercise is very, very beneficial for our body in terms of managing stress. Okay, spending time on activities that we enjoy helps to improve your mental health and well-being. It can be anything that's creative, athletic, reading, or even outdoor activities. Okay, it will work even better if you participate in community-based recreation. Okay, so this is what all of us are doing, right? Like this festival and all that. So participating in recreation that's community-based helps to foster a sense of belonging. Okay. Sleep and rest is really important. So lifestyle choices I mentioned earlier on sometimes can be a source of stress when we don't get enough sleep. Because when we are deprived of sleep, it increases stresses. I think this is something that we are all really familiar with. Okay, so even I always tell children when I do this talk with primary school children, I always tell them, even if you don't feel like sleeping, they will tell me, no, I don't want to sleep so early, especially as they get older, right? They want to sleep at like 11, 12 a.m. or 1 a.m., So I tell them that even if you're not sleeping, I think it's good to just take a rest, okay? You don't have to shut your eyes, but just rest and let your body relax. So eating well will ensure better health and a sense of well-being, okay? Important, have a balanced diet with good intake of fruits, vegetables, dairy, and protein food. I think it's okay to have that treat occasionally, all right, to have our sweets, the desserts, and then the burgers and the pizzas. But I think this is something that probably all of you have heard all the time. Moderation is key. Okay, so do ensure that balanced diet remains prominent in your life. Okay, time management. Okay, I think having good time management help you help you to have a sense of control over your life, okay? Using a planner for daily schedule, making to-do lists, setting priorities, what you need to do will help to ensure that you will not be overwhelmed, okay? I think maybe personal disclosure, my time management is very bad. And I always tell myself, I buy myself a planner I want to do. So I make myself make to-do list, setting priorities, because there are times whereby when I'm overwhelmed by work, I realize that when I do not have to-do list, I feel really like all over the place. And that actually increases my stress levels. So I have personally seen how important it is, to make to-do lists and setting priorities. Okay, relaxation techniques. So some breathing exercises that all of you can consider is doing the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. So 4 refers to breathing in for 4 seconds, and then hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. All right. So if you actually do a Google 4-7-8 breathing exercise, it's actually quite common. It is touted as the natural tranquilizer for your nervous system. For those of you who are not used to doing breathing exercises, I would suggest for all of you to start slow, pace yourself first at the beginning, because I have gotten feedback from some people when they started practicing this 4-7 breathing exercises. They say they feel very lightheaded, right? So as a start, I think just do 1 round, but as you build up your capacity and a capability to be able to do more breathing exercises, then you can do a few more rounds. All right. Mindfulness, okay, something that is gaining a lot of popularity over the past years, okay. Mindfulness has, I think, a lot of, there have been a lot of research and studies that shown that mindfulness is really helpful in terms of helping us to reduce stress levels. So what exactly is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and our surroundings. Okay, by having that moment-by-moment awareness, we are able to be in touch with what is going on with ourselves and the surroundings and environment around us. Okay, guided imagery. Guided imagery refers to visualizing a peaceful surrounding. So this is usually done together with a trained therapist who is able to do guided imagery. But this does not mean that you are not able to do that at home. Okay, there are a lot of very helpful YouTube tutorials, okay, that does guided imagery. So what it does is you close your eyes, okay, and then you hear a narrative, okay, or maybe sounds of a very peaceful and calm image, okay, and when you do that, okay, after opening your eyes, after finishing the imagery exercises, you really find yourself like really a lot more relaxed. Okay, body scan is related to mindfulness. So body scan is really scanning yourself from head to toe. Okay, relaxing and tensing your muscles at the same time to just dislodge, okay, the tension in your muscles. Okay, so we can start from our head and then to our jaw. So what we do is we will tighten our jaw, okay, for a few seconds, and then we release. Okay, and then we go down to our neck, our shoulders, we tightened, and then we release, and then all the way down to our feet. Okay, so this is a body scan. All right. Of course, there are also other exercises that promote relaxation, and that's yoga, Tai Chi, and Qigong. So these exercises have been gaining a lot of popularity, okay, over the years. But of course, if you have any existing health conditions, I would strongly encourage you to check with your primary medical care provider to see whether it's suitable for you to do any of these exercises before proceeding. Okay, talking to someone that we trust. Yeah, some of you have actually indicated in the word cloud talk, right? So people that we trust can be our family members. I always encourage the clients that I work with, okay, to come up with at least the name of people that you trust in your social support circle. Okay, so that when there are times whereby you really need to talk to somebody, you straight away you have somebody to refer to, like who somebody can come to your mind and who you can approach to talk. Okay, some of us may be very hesitant to seek help from mental health professionals. right? Especially the young clients that work with the teenagers, they always say, no, I don't want to I don't want to see a psychiatrist, I don't want to talk to a psychologist, or I don't want to talk to a counselor or whatsoever. So, which is why having really strong support system is very important. Okay, so that when having that strong support system, okay, people whom they can trust or close to them, then they can help to convince them to seek help if it's necessary. Okay, so lastly, seeking professional help from these mental health professionals. Okay, like I mentioned, some of us may be hesitant to reach out to a mental health professional. So I think nowadays in Singapore, as compared to the past, okay, there has been a lot of, I think, improvements in terms of seeking help and improvements in terms of mental health stigmatization. So there's been a lot of initiatives by other agencies to provide mental health peer support, okay, which actually helps to manage the anxiety of those who need to see a mental health professional, but they feel like they're not ready yet. So they may seek out peer support from a trained peer supporter, and these trained peer supporters may then, over a period of time, provide that support and eventually convince these people to seek help. Okay, so maybe let's just take about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, if you don't have a piece of paper with you, that's fine. We'll take about 5 to 7 minutes to just do a reflection based on what I've shared earlier, the 3 A's of managing stress: awareness, okay, what is the biggest source of stress in your life right now? Okay, whether is this a positive or negative stress, or why? And then what can you do to eliminate this stress in a positive manner from your life? And what sort of healthy activity will you do to deal with this stress? And what are some of the resources that you're willing to use to deal with this stress? So maybe let's take about 5 to 7 minutes of quiet time to just reflect on what I've shared earlier. Okay, I hope that this 5-minute reflection, okay, is helpful for you in taking stock of your life and what is bothering you, if there's any, all right? Okay, and I've come to the end of my presentation. Please feel free to take a picture of these resources that you may find helpful. If it's not for you, it could be someone that you know, a loved one, a friend, a family member, okay? Some of these resources, some of these agencies, they do provide actually complementary support for mental health issues, all right? Once again, thank you very much for taking your time out of lunch to attend this talk on stress management. Okay, I hope you all have benefited and enjoyed the talk. Thank you.